All right, we'll open up the floor for Gene.
Since Clay asked the first question, it got me out of my office.
Yeah. So Nike doesn't force feed these things to you. Do you collaborate? Do they send you something? What's the decision-making process? Have you ever turned down one of their ideas?
Yes, we have turned down one of their ideas, but let me explain the process. And I can't remember what year we started with the retro jerseys and uniforms, but they'll bring a design to us. We'll look at the design, we'll kick it around, we'll get some input, and we'll make some modifications based upon what we think or feel should be added. This particular weekend, that occurred as well. So we looked at the original design, and they have some very creative people, obviously, but we did not approve the original design, so we added some of the elements that you'll see this weekend, and that's happened every single year we've done that. Pretty much the colors, the stripes, on the side of the pant in particular. I can't remember the helmet part. I wasn't a part of that piece, but the numbers, the color of the numbers on the jerseys were darker, so we added more scarlet into it.
Austin, and then go ahead.
Penn afterwards. Gene, how do you find that balance between wanting to maybe embrace a trend or something that the recruits might want or the kids want with maybe a segment of the fan base that only wants
That's
to
the difficult part. Yeah, you're in it. You're right in the middle of it. You know, we're blessed here. You know, we're at an institution that has such great, rich tradition and history. You have to make sure you respect that. And there's certain things that become untouchable in that regard. Hang on, Sloopy. I mean, it becomes untouchable. But at the same time, you have to recognize that our demographic is changing. You know, our world is changing. We have 30,000 students that come to all of our football games. And then recruiting has changed. Our competitors have changed. So there's that balance of respect, our history and tradition, but also moving ourselves further into the 21st century, which, you know, kind of the landscape defines that for you. And the uniforms are part of that. It's not something that we'll do every game. You know, I get a couple emails from people who say we're not Oregon. You're right. We're not Oregon, and we're not going to be Oregon. We're Ohio State University, and we're going to pick one game every single year where we try and do this. Good question.
Ben?
You mentioned you have worn the alternates and the throwbacks in the past, but this is a pretty drastic change, changing the colors of the home jerseys.
Some people thought our first one was drastic. It's just a matter of where you sit.
Is this something that Nike has been pushing for a while and you guys were resistant to, or is this something that they offered the black jerseys and you said, okay?
No, the black hasn't been one that they've been pushing for a long time. I think maybe it was 2 years ago they first surfaced the idea. In fact, we're looking at next year's right now. So as you guys understand the ordering cycle, we have to make decisions now on next year because of the way things are manufactured. So we're going through that process now of determining if we're going to do it, what it would look like, what modifications we make. So it's not something that they pushed.
Is this something you were, or the program was initially resistant to? And you see what I'm saying?
Specifically the black?
Yeah.
No. It's just this is the first time it came to us out of their creative shop, the kitchen they call it, the way it came to us. Yeah.
Front row middle, Rob?
So what are you looking at for next year?
Give me a break. I'm just trying to get through the day. Obviously I can't share that.
There's also a perception, maybe it's reality, that is Archie involved in this process? It gets run past
So
him?
one of the other questions, I was watching you guys, by the way. I listened to you guys, which I said, okay, I got to go help my man out. But anyway, we go through a process first with Urban and I to look at it, okay? Then we include some players, which he did, his leadership team, and then I get some former players. I don't actually do it. Diana Sable gets with some former players and get their feedback. One year I actually met with Archie, it was early in the process, so Archie's seen it, some other former players, which I won't reveal who they are, but there's some other former players that looked at it as well.
Far left, Doug?
So this seems to be not just a uniform thing, but I know you guys are calling it Dark Night of the Shoe, and you have some T-shirts.
Actually, we're not athletically. I mean, that's coming from other places. You know, we're not driving that as an athletic department.
There were T-shirts in my grocery store.
Then buy some.
be unethical.
Why? They like them in
So,
Cleveland.
But is this?
We do not have a promotion that's a dark out from athletics. Okay, so there's some things that's popping up from different parts of the demographics, but we're not saying, you know, black out the shoe. That's not what we're doing. There's other people doing that. Now, we're selling items,
Right.
to your point. Yes, we are selling items.
Let's say dark night at the shoe, right?
I don't know if we're selling it. That would be new to me. That might be something that I don't know about. It's highly possible.
Who do you mean is doing
Trademark licensing.
IMG?
So you could come, no, it could be IMG or trademark licensing, or any licensee could do that. Any licensee could come to us with a promotion. As long as it fits our criteria for sale, then we can license that product and sell it. It's probably got the little TM on it. You ought to look to make sure it's legit. Yeah, then you should go buy one. But anyway, so that little T, that means they're a licensing company that went through our trademark and licensing and got that approved. So it's not something we said, okay, athletics has said we're going to go print all these T-shirts. That didn't come from us.
Okay, a couple more. Second row left. Ari? Talked about getting into the century and how important it is for recruiting. Have you had discussions with Urban? And I mean, I'm sure you have a
Sure.
pulse of how important is that to recruiting?
Huge,
And how big is it? to why you might be doing it?
huge. Okay, so if you guys all go back, somebody was here, last year, Urban had this sitting on his coffee table. Does anybody remember that?
Austin.
Were you the one? Was he the one?
Well, he was just interviewing him.
And you saw it.
Somebody else snooped it out.
But somebody saw it, right? Okay, when was that? That was, when?
It was in June of last year.
Yeah, 2014. Okay, so, you know, that was sitting out on his coffee table for a reason. You know, that wasn't for you guys to come in and look at so he can impress you. Okay, it was sitting on the table because the recruits saw it. Recruits are impressionable today and have a great deal of materialistic interest. So reality is we're going to respond to that. You know, we have our job, our core mission is our student athletes that we serve, first and foremost. And that includes the recruits that we're trying to attract. So yes, we talk about recruiting all the time, which is why we have a waterfall in the locker room that you can't walk through. You know, I'm old school. When you say waterfall, I figure I can go underneath it, right, and get my hair wet. Killing me. But anyway.
Back row, Steve.
Yeah, Gene, a lot of numbers come out every year about, you know, Michigan sells this, Ohio State sells this, and Ohio State in some years is #1 in college marketing and all these other things. I would think a promotion like this to encourage people to purchase a brand new product could create an amazing windfall for Ohio State, trademark and licensing, the athletic department,
Right.
whoever you want to call it. Have you guys put an estimate or a price, a number on how much money this one event, these jerseys, all the black paraphernalia is going to bring Ohio State?
No, we have not, but we can get that for you when it's all said and done.
I mean, what do you-
I can't do that. I really can't. I've never looked at it. Honestly, I've never looked at it. You know, I look at spikes that are like the bowl game. The spike that you're talking about won't be huge. It won't be huge, but we can get that for you. Rick Van Brimmer. No. Keep in mind, the items that were sold on Saturday in one day. So, let me back up. So, was it last Saturday or the Saturday before?
Indiana Saturday.
Indiana Saturday. So it was announced that Friday and 9 o'clock that Saturday, all the Nike items were sent to the stores already and available for sale at 9 o'clock that morning. They were gone by mid-afternoon. Okay, so the inventory that came from Nike wasn't as significant as what people think. Now there's some more inventory coming out, but it won't be as deep. So we'll get you that number. I just don't. We don't look at it that way. We just don't. And so, but we can get you that number from Rick when it's all said and done.
And last question, front row, Bill.
This is not a
And
uniform,
actually, by people on eBay, they'll probably make more money than we will. By the way, I'm sorry.
not a uniform question. Just curious about your opinion about the success that Michigan's having this year and what it means.
Didn't I came over here for the uniform issue to help my coach. Why are you going off on this stuff? But, you know, it's a great program. They have a great platform. For us to think that it wasn't eventually going to come back to a highly competitive level would probably be naive on our part. It's just like a Penn State or other programs that have great, rich tradition and history and a great platform. To think that they wouldn't be successful with the right type of leader, be naive on our part. So I've always thought one day they'll be back in the game.
Good for the rivalry?
Yeah, it's good for the rivalry, good for the league, good for college football, and it's any time any of our competitors are excelling, and we ultimately beat them, then yeah, it's a good thing. I mean, that's what you want, right? I mean, so yeah, it's a good thing for the Big Ten, good thing for college football.
Gene, one quick thing. 1994, Ohio State players decided to wear black socks against Penn State and got beat 63-14. I think
1994?
Yeah, I think
Yeah. Where was I?
Yeah. But
Go ahead.
My point is there a risk involved
Always.
when you step away from the norm?
Sure.
You understand what I'm saying?
Always.
It's foolish.
Always.
How much do you weigh that?
You can't. I mean, you go back to your core values of what you're trying to accomplish and your principles and your planning principles. And the principles around this is the self-esteem and with our student athletes when they come out of that locker room, and the impact it has on recruiting. You know, I was blessed to have the personal experience when Notre Dame had played USC at Notre Dame, and we went to the green jerseys. I was actually coaching at that particular time, and Dan Devine kept that secret to really 3 people, and the coaches, none of us knew. And then we go in the locker room, and that was the day when the jerseys were big, so you could come out and warm up in your normal stuff and go back in and change. You can't do that today. But to go in there and see those guys and the excitement on their face, it was something that you never forget. And so you go back to what's the impact does it have on a Joshua Perry, on a Darren Lee, on a Tyvis Powell, on those guys, or Taylor Decker, because he would tell you he preferred to wear black rather than white. So you get into those conversations and you know what it really means. So you take the risk. There's a lot of things we do where there's risk, and you just have to evaluate the weight of that risk.
Gene, thank you very much.